Okay, so just let me know. Do you see a kind of a notes called
Yeah.
Igneous rock on the screen?
Yeah.
Okay, so thank you, and we will kind of formally start the meeting. So thank you for joining in. It's good to see you all. So this was your last lesson on Friday, but I thought I will just do a little bit kind of a explanation of this lesson. So the word igneous means fire, and so these rocks are formed when the magma inside the volcanoes, or we will later on we will look at where others these kind of magma melts or comes out. So it comes out of the volcanoes and then it solidifies. So it is called magma when it is inside the earth, and when it comes out it is called lava. So there are two types of igneous rock, one which are formed inside the earth and one which are formed outside the earth. So the only difference in these two is that over here, when the magma, which is all the molten rocks and all that, when they come out, they quickly cool down because of the temperature of the air is much cooler as compared to the temperature inside. Whereas the one which cool down here inside, they don't get to come out, they cool down much slowly. So their chemical composition might be similar, but their appearance will be different. So these ones are called extrusive. Extrusive means outside. They will have small crystals which will be hardly visible. Like if you look at the Mount Eden rocks, which are by the school, the big Mount Eden, it's called basalt. And also, so that has got, we can't see the crystals, but under microscope you will see the crystal. Whereas over here, because they cool down slowly, so they grow big crystals. So that's the main difference between these one. And so the common ones are, like granite bench tops that you use. So granite is the one, and there are some other rocks too, which are igneous rock, but they will have big crystals which are quite visible. Both of these ones are very hard rocks, so you can't scratch them because they are kind of they're formed by the cooked rocks and all those ones, so everything becomes really hard. So like some of these ones, so these are all extrusive one. Pumice, like quite often you will see by the beachside some pumice. So pumice is when all the magma comes out. If there is a water nearby, it actually evaporates and it changes into ashes. So pumice is like frozen ashes. And then basalt is the one which is near the Mount Eden. And if there is a water nearby near the volcanic eruption, then water gets in and that causes bubbles. So there will be holes, and that's called the scoria. So you might have seen scoria on the, like sometime on the footpaths and all that, especially in country areas. So instead of having a concreted pathways and all that, you put scoria, and because of the hole, it is good for the drainage. Obsidian is another one which looks like a glassy one. But all of these one, except the pumice, because that's made up of ashes, these are all very hard rock. So these are all extrusive, they cool down quickly, whereas the one which are intrusive are periodictile, gabbro, granite, and diorite, and all of these one have crystals. And the reason they've got different color is because there are different type of minerals or different type of chemicals which are present. So that's why they will have different type of colors and all that. So these are very strong. It's very difficult to cut them, but their resistance to most of the things. So bench tops are made up of granite so that it can kind of bear all those wear and tear thing. So that was first type of rock. Now your today's lesson is about sedimentary rocks, and how sedimentary rocks are formed is, like we will have hills and mountains and all that. Now weathering is breaking down of the rocks. So because of the rain, because of the wind, and because of sometime earth movement, small rocks and all those ones, they will break down. And then they will come down. Sometimes they come down by rivers and all that. So it will not be a small journey. It will be thousands of kilometers before they reach into sea through waters and water canals and all that one. So all those, so sedimentary, what sediment means, little particles or little grains, and there might be bigger size ones. So all different sizes one, they will eventually from the hilltops and the mountains, they will end up in the seabed. And in the seabed, what will happen is, as the layers deposit one on top of another, so the layers which are down under over here, they will get compacted because of the weight. Also, there will be some chemicals released from those different sediments, little sediments, the ones which are coming by the water flow. And those chemicals will actually, we call it lithification. So they will act like a glue and they will compact them, but they will still be underwater. But over kind of thousands of millions of years, there's a lot of volcanic inside the earth. There's a lot of movement. So these, because of the earth's forces which are down underneath, these rocks will be pushed up and up, and they will come down above the water. And that's how the New Zealand was formed. The whole New Zealand was underwater a million of years ago. And that's what the Ika Maui is, that, that he pulled with his fishing hook and he pulled the fish out, and it was all the landmass of the New Zealand. But that is true because all the both North and South Island, they were underwater. So most of this North and South Island, they're made up of sedimentary rocks. So these are sedimentary rocks, and quite often they will be in layers, and sometimes they might have some dead animals and all that. So we find fossils in them. Now these rocks are not very hardy ones. They're easier to be cut and broken down. They're very strong, but they're still like easy to scratch. So if you scratch them with your nails or with a little thing, it will come out, it will be a bit dusty. Okay. So, and what are the example? Common example are limestone, shale, sandstones, and conglomerate. Sandstone is because of all these ones are very hardy ones, but these are easier to cut. The castles in earlier time, they used to make it out of sandstone. These days we make big buildings out of iron and kind of concrete and all that, but sandstone used to be used because it's strong and it can last for thousands of years. So these are sedimentary rocks. For each lesson, you have to do a little quiz, and there is some question sheet that is given. And then third type of rocks is metamorphic rocks. And metamorphic rock is that, like they could be sedimentary rock or they could be igneous rock. But because of the heat, down under the ground, just above the surface of the earth, if you kind of dig 50 meters or 100 meters, it still will be like outside temperature. It won't be very hot. But inside the earth, if we go deeper and deeper, it becomes very hot. And what that hot heat does is it changes the rock which are formed. It could be igneous. The igneous rock will change. And when something is changed, it is called metamorphism, or these are called metamorphic rocks. So heat is one reason that changes the rock to metamorphic rocks. So they will be different from the original rocks. And also the pressure from the rocks above, that can also change them. So what is that all right? Any question?
Yeah. Were we meant to get that today? Because I don't think we.
No, not today. I'm just covering all.
Oh, okay, sweet.
Yeah, it's not today's lesson.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, so don't worry. I thought I will just explain it and kind of record it and put the video in the lesson, so you can revisit it. And some of the common rocks are these one, like marble, slate, gneiss, schist. They're all example of metamorphic rocks. Slate is quite often used in near fireplaces and all that, because they're very heat resistant. They do not melt because they are, but at the same time they are in layers, so quite often it's easier to cut them as compared to igneous rocks. Now, so we say the common example is limestone, which is a sedimentary rock. It changes into marble because of the pressure and heat. Granite changes into gneiss. So this is the rock gneiss, which looks different from granite. You can see a bit of layers in that one. And then mudstone, which is a sedimentary rock, or shale, it changes into slate, which is like this one. So basically, these are quite straightforward. Don't worry about the activity if it is written in there. We will do that when we get back to the class. So any question about these notes before I stop sharing it? Okay, so I will come back to the main screen. Okay.